Hey there, this is video number 5 of my Guitar 101 video series. This is sheet music and tablature, so let's get to it. So if you look right here, these lines are sheet music, whereas these lines down here are tab. So sheet music only has 5 lines. And you can also see this symbol right here. This is a treble clef. This is the clef that we read guitar music in. Other instruments use other clefs, most notably bass clef, but we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so right here it says tab. All right, when you see that, that's a good indicator that it's tablature. That's short for tablature. I say this because sometimes people have been confused as to whether they're reading sheet music or tab. If you're in that situation, look for that. If there's 5 lines and there's a treble clef, sheet music. If there's 6 lines and it says tab, tablature. So anyway, we're going to start with sheet music first. So what happens on sheet music is that each of these lines and the spaces in between the lines represents a note. So if you look right here, I got them written out. This is every good boy does fine. That's the saying that most people know for the line notes. Okay. All right. These are the space notes, and they spell out face. So if you look over here, this is a note that's on the bottom line. All right, so this is an E. Okay, you can see that it's on the line because there's a circle here. All right, the line is going through the circle. This is another line note. This is a B. Okay, so this is a space note, and this is a C. So if you look, I mean, here's our lines, right? The circle isn't going through them. It's just in between the lines. So that makes it a space note, and that's that C, like I said. This is an interesting thing that you can see. These are 2 different space notes. This is that C and that E, and they're actually played at the same time. This is how you see chords in sheet music. They'll be lined up with the line. Okay, the circles will. All right, so if you look here, I've written a bunch of notes here. Okay, and I want to point out a pattern to you that can be really helpful with reading sheet music. If you notice, we're going in order of the alphabet. See, I have all these letters written above the actual note. So like I said, this bottom line is an E, right? Well, what comes next in the alphabet? F. Okay, so if you go line, space, line, space, line, space, so on and so on, you will follow the musical alphabet. Now notice I say musical alphabet, because if you look at G here, after G doesn't come H, right? You get A. Okay, so yeah, what that does now is that means we can take these notes beyond the staff, and we can do that with what is called ledger lines. So if you look at this note clear over here, okay, it's not very visible, but it's there. I wrote a line through the circle of that note. That's called a ledger line, and basically that is representing as if there was an extra line in the staff. Okay, so if you look at our top line here, this is an F. Okay, now this right here, this is a G. This is essentially another space note. Okay, but what happens after a space note? We got to go to a line note, right? So that's why I get this little short line on this note, and that's an A. Okay, and you can go the other way too if you look over here. So here's E. Now when we go this way, we need to go backwards in the alphabet. So we go backwards one from E in the alphabet, and we get D. This is like a space note. Okay, now if we go right here, this is a line note. This is a C because there's that little line through it, the ledger line. Now check this out. This is a B. Okay, you can see the line, and the actual circle for the note is below the line. All right, making that essentially a space note. And then look, now we're 2 ledger lines, and we're on an A. Okay, and you can keep going. All right, you can go this way too. So that's a very important thing with sheet music. All right, is that it can go beyond the staff, and also it goes in musical alphabet order. When you go up, you're going forward. When you go down, you're going backwards. Let's talk about some other symbols you can see in sheet music. So if you look right here, this is a sharp sign. Okay, so you might be thinking, oh, this is a C, but in actuality, now it is a C sharp note. So if you remember from the tuning video that I have in my series here, the sharp sign, the C sharp is the note in between C and D. Okay, cool. So this right here, the lowercase b, is the flat sign. So this note is on a B, so that makes that note a B flat. That's how you represent the sharp and flat notes in sheet music. They just write it right next to it with either the sharp sign or the flat sign. Okay, this right here, this symbol is a little more interesting. This is a natural sign symbol. And basically, it'll cancel out any sharp or flat that you saw previously. So like I wrote this back on the C, we had C sharp, but now when I get to this note, it's a C natural again. So I play this note, it's C sharp, I play that note, it's B flat, but now this note is C natural. Alright? And natural means just the normal note, it's just C. It's not C sharp or anything, just C. Alright, cool. Now these symbols, we're going to talk about these more. These have to do with rhythm. But all I want to get across with these symbols is that even though they look a little different, they still are representing the notes, right? Because this is still on a line. That's the G note, okay? These are still on lines, even though they're connected, okay? All right, and this is still on a line. So you can see stuff like that. This is called a whole note, all right? It doesn't have a stem, and it's just a circle, okay? These are called eighth notes, and they're connected to each other, all right? But you still, you know, you go, dude, you play this note, then that note, then that note. You don't play those notes at the same time, all right? You play them by themselves. And then you got this is called a half note, which it has a stem, but the circle isn't filled in, okay? I will be talking about these notes in my next video a lot more. And please realize that sheet music is quite a subject to tackle. Honestly, I could probably make a video series on it alone, okay? So this is as far as I'm going to go into sheet music. If you're curious about it, you can totally, there's so many learning guitar books out there that use it. The Hal Leonard Guitar Method is a great book. The Alfred's Guitar Method is good. And there's a slightly more advanced book by Berkeley from the, this music school that, teaches it really well too. So that's all for sheet music. Let's get to tab. All right, let's talk about tab now. So like I said, tab is down here and it has 6 lines instead of 5, okay? So what do we have 6 of on a guitar? Strings, right? So that's what's going on, is that these lines represent the strings on the guitar, okay? What confuses people is that they think this line down here, okay, they think that's the high E, okay? The high E is the one clear up here, okay? Whereas the low E is this one down here. That is the most confusing thing about tab. If you can get the hang of that, you can totally get reading this, okay? So what they do, instead of writing in like any circles or symbols or anything, we have numbers, okay? So here's like a 5, okay? And that is referring to the fret that you're on, okay? So this 5 is on this line right here. So let's go, we got E, A, D. It's the D string, okay? So what I do is I just climb up my neck here. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's that note in tab right there. Okay, a lot simpler than sheet music. Okay, this right here, so this says 8. So let's figure out what string it is. We got E, A, D, G, B. It's on the B string, the second string. So we got to find the 8th fret. Now, this is a thing that's helpful. You got your dots on your guitar, right? They go like this. This is the 3rd fret, the 5th fret, the 7th fret. So now that I know that fret is the 7th fret, we got the 8th fret right here. So there's that note in tab. Now here's something you need to watch out for. It says 0. Well, how does that work? We don't have a 0 fret. 0 means open. So this is the low 6th string, right? The E. So all I gotta do to play that note is just play it open. Okay. This is a 3. Okay. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a 3. and that's on E, A, D. That's the D string again. So I go up, 1, 2, 3, and there's that note in tab. And that's how tab works. Be careful, you might see some notes lined up like this. When you see that, that's a chord, okay? This is and you'll sometimes see this too. They'll write the name of the chord above it, which if you have a good tab, hopefully they do that. It can help you find the chords. But basically, when they're lined up like that, you play it at the same time, hence it being a chord. So my biggest advice with tab is just practice getting used to which string each line represents, okay? It's upside down from what most people think. But once you get the hang of that, it's really not too hard, you know? And just make sure you got to count frets a bit more, because you aren't thinking about like the note names anymore. You're thinking about, well, what number am I on, you know? And you do like I did, use your dots, okay? Most guitars go like this. This is 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th, 9th, and then the double dot is 12. Okay, not every guitar is like that, but most of them are. So anyway, these are subjects, like I said, with sheet music that, you know, I didn't get too in-depth with. I'll see what happens with my videos. If I feel the need to make a more in-depth tab video, or even especially sheet music video, or even video series, I might do that. But for right now, with this being Guitar 101, this gives you a basic understanding of what's going on. If you have any questions about this stuff, please comment. I'd love to help. And anyway, this is the end of my 5th video. Next video, like I said, is about rhythm. If that interests you, then you should tune in and watch it. Well, anyway, I'll see you later.